I found out my wife was sleeping with my dying father's hospice nurse on a Tuesday, exactly 3 hours before I was supposed to sign over my inheritance rights. The irony wasn't lost on me as I sat in my truck outside Dad's house, staring at the dashboard camera footage on my phone. I'd installed the camera 6 months ago after someone kept breaking into vehicles on his street. Never thought I'd be watching it capture my wife Vanessa climbing into a silver Lexus at 2:47 p.m., kissing a man who definitely wasn't me, her hand sliding up his neck with the kind of familiarity that doesn't develop overnight. The timestamp showed it was from yesterday, Monday. The same Monday she'd texted me that she was staying late at the gym, then grabbing dinner with her sister. I rewound it. Watched again. The Lexus belonged to Derek Paulson. I recognized the vanity plate, DP-CARE1. He was Dad's hospice nurse, the guy we'd both praised for his compassion and professionalism over the past 8 weeks. The man who'd held my father's hand during his worst pain episodes. Who'd assured me just last week that Dad was comfortable, that the end would be peaceful. My phone buzzed. Vanessa. Running errands. Be home by 6. Love you. I looked at the time. 4:15 p.m. I was supposed to meet with Dad's lawyer, Timothy Brooks, at 5 p.m. The meeting where I'd planned to do something monumentally stupid, sign away my inheritance to my stepmother, Patricia, because Vanessa had convinced me it was the right thing to do. Your father was only married to her for 5 years, Vanessa had said 2 weeks ago, her hand on my shoulder as we lay in bed. But she took care of him every single day. She gave up her career, her friends, everything. The house, the accounts. She deserves security. You're young. We're doing fine. We can build our own wealth. This would be the generous thing, the honorable thing. I'd believed her. God help me. I'd actually drafted the paperwork with Brooks, ready to redirect Dad's estate, the house in Riverside worth $890,000, the investment accounts totaling roughly $1.2 million, the life insurance policy for another $500,000, almost entirely to Patricia, keeping only a small memorial fund for myself. Vanessa had been so proud of me. She'd made my favorite dinner. We'd celebrated my growth as a person. Now I sat in my truck, watching her tongue in another man's mouth, and something cold and clear settled over my thinking. I opened my call log and dialed Brooks. Ryan, hey, he answered. Still on for 5? Actually, I need to postpone. Something's come up. A pause. Everything okay? Your father? Dad's fine. I just need a few days to reconsider some things. Of course. His voice carried relief, maybe even approval. Take all the time you need. For what it's worth, I think reconsidering is wise. Your father specifically structured his will to provide for you as his biological son. Patricia is already receiving the life estate on the property, which is substantial. You don't owe anyone your entire inheritance, Ryan. Yeah, I said. I'm starting to see that. After we hung up, I forwarded the dash cam footage to my personal email. Then to a cloud storage account Vanessa didn't know about. Then to a thumb drive I kept in my glove compartment. I'd worked in IT security for 7 years. I knew how evidence could disappear. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Patricia. Will you be here for dinner? Making your father's favorite pot roast. Patricia. 62 years old, genuinely kind, genuinely grieving. She'd married Dad after Mom died, and while I'd been skeptical at first, she'd won me over. She read to him every night, managed his medications. Never complained, not once. And Vanessa wanted me to give her everything, to look like the magnanimous son. Except Vanessa had been spending an awful lot of time at Dad's house lately. Helping Patricia, she'd said. She needs support. I pulled up my phone records. We had a family plan, and I was the account administrator. Started scrolling through Vanessa's texts. She'd deleted most of them, but the phone company kept metadata. Lots of texts to a number I didn't recognize. I ran it through a reverse lookup. Derek Paulson. Texts going back 4 months. Right around when Dad entered hospice care and Derek became a regular presence in our lives. I started the truck and drove, not toward home, but toward the public library 3 miles away. I needed a quiet place to think. Somewhere Vanessa wouldn't look for me. Somewhere I could access public records without leaving a trail on our home computer. The library was nearly empty on a Tuesday afternoon. I claimed a computer in the back corner and started searching. Derek Paulson, 34, licensed practical nurse, no criminal record, married. That was interesting. I found his wife's Facebook profile. Amanda Paulson, 32, elementary school teacher. Recent posts showed a smiling couple at a restaurant, a hiking trip, a new puppy. She had no idea. I screenshotted everything. Then I searched for California divorce law, specifically adultery and asset division. California was a no-fault state, which meant adultery didn't technically affect divorce proceedings, but it could matter for other things. Custody, if we had kids, we didn't. Spousal support potentially, if I could prove she'd wasted community assets on the affair. I needed more information. I needed to know how deep this went. And I needed to know if Vanessa's sudden charitable attitude toward my inheritance had anything to do with the man she was sleeping with. I checked my watch. 5:30 p.m. I had 30 minutes before Vanessa expected me home. Time to do some digging. The missing private investigator. That's what the subject line said when I Googled him 3 days later. I'm sitting in my truck outside a strip mall in Anaheim, staring at a Reddit thread from 2 years ago. Someone asking if anyone knew what happened to Leonard Moss, PI. The responses are mostly unhelpful speculation, but one stands out. Heard he left town. Some case went sideways. Client threatened him. He just vanished one day. Office cleaned out, phone disconnected. I close the browser and pull up the email I sent to myself Tuesday night. The one with all the screenshots, the dash cam footage, the phone records. Everything about Vanessa and Derek. Wednesday morning, I'd hired Leonard Moss. Found him through a referral from a guy at work whose brother used him during a custody battle. Moss had good reviews, reasonable rates, 20 years of experience. His office was in a converted house in Garden Grove. Professional enough, nothing fancy. I'd given him everything. Showed him the video, the text records, Derek's information, Vanessa's schedule. Told him about the inheritance, the timing, my suspicions that this went deeper than just an affair. He'd listened, taken notes on an actual notepad, and nodded. I've seen this before, he'd said. Spouse pushes for financial decisions right when they're planning an exit. Usually means they're setting something up. That's what I think. Give me a week. I'll follow her, document everything, see who else might be involved. Sometimes these things have more players than you'd expect. I'd paid him a $2,500 retainer. Cash, which he'd preferred. He'd given me a receipt, his card, and told me he'd send daily updates. The first update came Wednesday evening. A text, followed subject to Riverside address at 3:15 p.m., remained inside 2.5 hours. Paulson vehicle arrived 4:20 p.m. Both departed separately at 5:50 p.m. Photos attached. The photos showed Vanessa's car in my father's driveway. Derek's SUV with the ridiculous vanity plate. Both of them leaving at different times, maintaining the appearance of propriety. Thursday's update was similar. Vanessa to the house, Derek arriving later, overlapping visits, separate departures. Friday, Moss sent a longer message. Subject met with female, approximately. 60s, at coffee shop in Corona. Conversation appeared friendly. Ran plates on female's vehicle, registered to Patricia Brennan. Your stepmother? Asterisk. I'd stared at that message for 10 minutes. Vanessa and Patricia having coffee. Appeared friendly. I texted back, Yes, that's her. Can you get audio? Not legally in CA, but I can read body language. We'll keep you posted. Saturday's update came at noon. Subject and Paulson met at hotel in Ontario. Checked in 10:45 a.m., room 318. Still inside as of this message. I'd felt sick. Not surprised, but sick anyway. Then nothing. Saturday afternoon, no update. Saturday evening, silence. Sunday, I texted him. Checking in. Any news? No response. Sunday evening. Haven't heard from you. Everything okay? Nothing. Monday morning, I called. The number went straight to a generic voicemail, the kind that comes with the phone. The mailbox is full. Monday afternoon, I drove to his office. The house was dark, a for lease sign in the front yard. I peered through the windows, completely empty. Not just empty of people, but empty of everything. No desk, no filing cabinets, no furniture at all. I called the number on the leasing sign. Got a property manager who told me the previous tenant had broken their lease, paid the penalty, and moved out over the weekend. Left the place clean at least, took everything with them. Did they say where they were going? No forwarding address. Paid in full. Returned the keys Saturday night. That's all I know. Now it's Tuesday, and I'm trying to make sense of it. A private investigator doesn't just vanish. Not unless something makes them vanish. I pull up the photos Moss sent me. The metadata shows they were taken with a Nikon D3500. Timestamps match his messages. They're real. He was really following Vanessa. Then he disappeared. I open my email and search for his address. leonard.moss.investigations@gmail.com. I send a message. I need to know what happened. If you're in trouble, I can help. If someone got to you, I need to know who. Asterisk. It bounces back. Address not found. He deleted the email account. I sit there, engine off, watching people come and go from the Starbucks across the parking lot. Trying to think. Someone knew I'd hired him. Someone knew what he was investigating. Someone made him disappear, or scared him badly enough that he ran. The question is who? Vanessa doesn't know I know about the affair. I've been careful. I've acted normal, responded to her texts, maintained the routine. She has no reason to suspect I'm investigating. Unless Derek told her something. Unless he noticed Moss following them. Or unless someone else is watching. I think about Patricia. About that coffee meeting Moss documented. Conversation appeared friendly. What would Vanessa and Patricia have to talk about? Vanessa barely knew her before Dad got sick. They weren't close. There's no reason they'd be meeting for coffee unless they were coordinating something. My phone buzzes. Text from Vanessa. How's your day? Miss you. I stare at it. She sends these messages every day. Little touches of affection, maintaining the facade. I've been responding normally, playing along. I type back, busy? Miss you too. Another buzz, different number. Unknown caller. I answer. Hello? Silence. Not dead air, but the silence of someone listening. I can hear breathing. Who is this? They click. They hang up. I pull the phone away, check the number. Area code 909, local. I run it through a reverse lookup site. No results. Probably a burner. The paranoia I've been pushing down since Monday surfaces hard. Someone called to see if I'd answer. To confirm this number is active, that I'm reachable. I start the truck and pull out of the parking lot. I don't know where I'm going yet, just that I need to move. My phone buzzes again. This time it's an email. No sender name, just a string of numbers at protonmail.com. The subject line. Stop looking. I pull into a gas station, park, open the email. No message body, just an attachment. A PDF. I download it, hands not quite steady. It's a scan of a document. My signature at the bottom. The inheritance waiver I'd prepared with Timothy Brooks, the one I never signed. But this copy shows a signature. My signature, or something close enough. Dated last Tuesday. The day I was supposed to sign. The day I discovered the affair instead. Below the signature, someone has written in red pen, "This can still happen. Walk away." I read it 3 times. They're threatening to forge my signature, to make it look like I signed away the inheritance, to cut me out of everything my father is leaving behind. And they're telling me that if I keep investigating, they'll do it. I screenshot the email, save the PDF to 3 different locations, then forward everything to my personal backup account. Whoever sent this thinks they're scaring me off, thinks I'll panic and stop digging. They don't know me very well. I pull up Timothy Brooks's number and call. He answers on the second ring. "Ryan, how are you? I need to ask you something. That waiver document we prepared, who has copies?" A pause. "Just you and me, and my assistant, but she's been with me for 15 years. Why?" "Someone just sent me a version with a forged signature, telling me to back off." Another pause, longer this time. "Back off from what?" "I hired a private investigator. He disappeared. Now someone's threatening me." "Ryan." His voice shifts, becomes careful. "What exactly is going on?" I tell him. "Not everything, but enough. The affair, the timing, my suspicions, Moss vanishing, the threatening email." He's quiet for a long moment. Then, "You need to involve the police." "And tell them what? That my PI stopped answering texts? That someone sent me a scary email? That someone is threatening you with document fraud? That's a crime. They haven't done it yet. They're just threatening to. Ryan, I need you to do something for me. I need you to file that waiver with the court, the real one, without my signature, as evidence that I never signed it. Can you do that?" "File it where? There's no probate case yet. Your father is still alive." "Right? I'm not thinking clearly." "Then keep it somewhere safe, somewhere they can't get to it. And if anything happens to me, if I die or disappear or suddenly decide to sign everything away, I need you to know it wasn't my choice." "You're scaring me." "I'm scaring myself," he sighs. "I'll put the original in my safe deposit box." "And Ryan? Please be careful. Whatever this is, it's bigger than an affair." "I know. That's what terrifies me." The library's fluorescent lights buzz overhead as I stare at the screen, trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. Or rather, what I'm not seeing. Leonard Moss existed, past tense. I've spent the last 2 hours piecing together digital breadcrumbs. His PI license was legitimate. I found it in California's public records database, issued 4 years ago. Active status until last week. Then nothing. License status changed to suspended pending investigation 3 days ago. Investigation into what? His office lease was terminated early. Not abandoned, formally terminated, with a check dated 6 days ago. The same day he stopped responding to my calls. The landlord's property management website shows the suite available for immediate occupancy. Move-in ready. Like no one was ever there. I pull up the photos I took of his office on my first visit. The framed licenses on the wall, the filing cabinets, the coffee mug with a faded PI joke on it. All of it, gone. Someone cleaned that office professionally, quickly. My phone vibrates. Vanessa again. "Running late at work. Don't wait up. Love you." I don't respond. Haven't responded to her last 6 messages. She hasn't called, though. Hasn't asked if something's wrong. That should tell me everything. I open a new browser tab and search for Leonard Moss's personal information. It takes some work, the kind of work I'm good at. Public records, property databases, voter registration. He owned a condo in Glendale, past tense again. Sold it 9 days ago. Quick sale, cash buyer, closed in 72 hours. That's not normal. That's someone who needed to move money fast, or someone who needed to disappear. I find his ex-wife through a divorce filing from 2019. Angela Moss, now Angela Winters. She lives in Pasadena, works as a dental hygienist according to her LinkedIn profile. I shouldn't call her. This is probably crossing a line. I call her anyway. She answers on the third ring. Hello? Ms. Winters, my name is Ryan Foster. I'm trying to reach Leonard Moss. I understand you were married to him. A pause. Was. Past tense. What's this about? He was working a case for me. He stopped responding and his office is empty. I'm concerned something might have happened to him. Another pause, longer this time. When did you last hear from him? 6 days ago. Yeah? She exhales slowly. That sounds about right. What do you mean? Look, I don't know you. I don't know what Leonard was working on for you. But I'll tell you what I told the other guy who called asking about him. My pulse quickens. Someone else called? 2 days ago. Didn't leave a name. Just asked if I'd heard from Leonard, if I knew where he was. She pauses. I told him the truth. Leonard called me 5 days ago. First time we talked in 8 months. He said if anyone came looking for him, to tell them he took a job overseas, security consulting in Dubai. Said he'd be gone for at least a year. Do you believe that? She laughs, but there's no humor in it. Leonard? Overseas? The man got anxious flying to Sacramento. No, I don't believe it. But he sounded scared. Really scared. And Leonard doesn't scare easy. Did he say what he was afraid of? He said he took a case he shouldn't have. Said the client seemed normal, but the surveillance turned up something bigger than a cheating spouse. He wouldn't tell me what. Just said he was getting out while he could. My hands feel cold. Did he mention the client's name? No. And I didn't ask. Leonard and I weren't on those kinds of terms anymore. She hesitates. Look, whoever you are, whatever he was looking into for you, let it go. Leonard was good at his job. If something made him run, you should run too. She hangs up before I can respond. I sit there, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to dead air. Leonard ran. Sold his condo, closed his office, suspended his license, and ran. All within days of photographing Vanessa with Patricia. That meeting. 2 women having coffee. What did he see that made him run? I pull up the photos he sent me again. Study them on the library computer's larger screen. Vanessa and Patricia at an outdoor cafe in Claremont. Talking, leaning close. Patricia sliding something across the table. A document. Vanessa reading it, nodding. I zoom in as far as the resolution allows. The document has text, but it's too blurry to read. Legal size paper, multiple pages. What were they looking at? I open my email and scroll back through the messages Leonard sent. Case updates, photo attachments, brief summaries, professional and thorough. The last email he sent was different. I'd read it a dozen times, but hadn't really looked at it. Final update. Surveillance confirms ongoing relationship between subject and Derek Paulson. Also documented meeting between subject and Patricia Foster. Recommend immediate consultation. We'll call tomorrow to discuss findings in detail. This case has complications beyond initial scope. Complications beyond initial scope. He never made that call. Never got the chance to tell me what complications he'd found. I do a reverse image search on the cafe photo, trying to identify the location. It takes a few tries, but I find it. The Copper Door Cafe in Claremont. Upscale place. Good reviews. About 40 minutes from here. They met there 8 days ago, according to Leonard's timestamp. Late morning, weekday. Both of them taking time out of their schedules for this meeting. I check Patricia's Facebook again. She hasn't posted in 3 days. Before that, daily updates about Dad's condition, requests for prayers, photos of flowers people sent. The kind of thing a devoted wife does. But 8 days ago, she posted a photo of a latte. Taking a moment for myself. Self-care is important even during difficult times. The background shows part of a brick wall, outdoor seating, decorative copper fixtures, the Copper Door Cafe. She documented the meeting on social media, hiding in plain sight. I screenshot everything and save it to 3 different locations. Then I clear my browser history and log out of the library computer. My phone buzzes again. Not Vanessa this time. Timothy Brooks, my lawyer. Ryan, we need to talk. Can you come to my office first thing tomorrow? I step outside to call him back. The evening air is cool and the parking lot is mostly empty. What's wrong? I ask when he answers. I'm not sure yet. Maybe nothing. He sounds careful. But I got a call today from another attorney. Gerald Hampton. He represents Patricia Foster. My stomach drops. Patricia has a lawyer? As of yesterday, apparently. Hampton called asking about your father's estate. Wanted to know if there were any recent changes to the will or any documentation regarding inheritance decisions. What did you tell him? Nothing. Attorney-client privilege. I said I couldn't discuss my client's affairs. He pauses. But Ryan, the fact that she's retained counsel right now while your father is still alive, that's unusual and concerning. She knows I didn't sign the waiver. Possibly, or she's preparing for something else. His voice drops. Hampton specializes in estate litigation. He's the lawyer you hire when you're planning to contest a will. I lean against my truck, processing this. Dad's will is straightforward. Half to Patricia, half to me. What would she contest? That's what worries me. If she's hiring Hampton now, before your father has even passed, she might be planning to challenge the will's validity. Claim undue influence, diminished capacity, something like that. Dad was sharp when he made that will. You know that. You were there. I do know that. But if she's working with someone who understands how to manipulate the system, he trails off. Just come in tomorrow, 9 a.m. We need to discuss protection strategies. After he hangs up, I sit in my truck and watch the sun set behind the library building. Patricia hired an estate litigation attorney. Vanessa convinced me to give up my inheritance. They met in secret. Leonard Moss saw something that made him run. And someone made him disappear. Not kill him, I don't think. If they'd wanted him dead, they wouldn't have bothered cleaning out his office, terminating his lease, creating a cover story. They made him leave. Scared him badly enough that he liquidated his life in 72 hours and vanished. What kind of people can do that? My phone buzzes. Unknown number. I almost don't answer. Hello? Silence. But not empty silence. Someone's there. I can hear breathing. I know you're there, I say. A woman's voice, distorted somehow. Mechanical. Text-to-speech, maybe. Your father dies in 3 days. The doctor confirmed it this morning. 3 days, Ryan. You can walk away rich, or you can keep digging and lose everything. Choose. The line goes dead. I sit there, hands shaking, and realize something that makes my blood run cold. They know the doctor's timeline. Information Patricia would have. Information she could share. And they're counting down. The library's fluorescent lights buzz overhead, but I barely notice. My laptop screen glows with 3 browser windows. The county assessor's database, the California Medical Board's license lookup, and a background check service I'm probably overpaying for. I've been here for 6 hours. My coffee went cold 3 hours ago. Patricia's attorney, Gerald Hampton, specializes in estate litigation. His website boasts about protecting rightful heirs and challenging invalid wills. The irony would be funny if it wasn't my inheritance on the chopping block. His retainer starts at $15,000. Patricia's supposedly living on a fixed income from her late husband's pension. My father's barely enough to cover the property taxes on the Riverside house. So where's the money coming from? I pull up her bank records. It takes me 20 minutes to access them through a service that definitely operates in a legal gray area, but I'm past caring about propriety. The account shows regular deposits from my father's checking, expected. Monthly pension payments, also expected. Then I see it. A wire transfer. $50,000. Deposited 4 days ago from an LLC called Clearwater Medical Holdings. I sit back. Stare at the screen. Clearwater Medical Holdings. The name means nothing to me, but the amount means everything. That's enough to retain Hampton 3 times over. I run the LLC through the business registry database. Delaware Corporation. Registered agent is a corporate services company that exists solely to shield actual ownership. Standard practice for people who don't want to be found. I dig deeper. Clearwater Medical Holdings has no website, no business listings, no employees on LinkedIn. It exists purely on paper, a ghost company designed to move money without leaving fingerprints. But money always leaves fingerprints if you know where to look. I cross-reference the registration date with other searches. The LLC was formed 8 months ago, right around the time my father's cancer came back. Right around the time Derek Paulson started providing hospice care. My phone vibrates. Text from Vanessa. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. I don't respond. Instead, I pull up Derek's financial records. His salary as an LPN is public information, $62,000 annually. Modest. His wife works as a dental hygienist. Combined, they're solidly middle class. They rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Costa Mesa. His credit cards show normal spending, groceries, gas, Netflix subscription. Nothing unusual until 3 months ago. That's when the cash deposits start. Small amounts. $2,000 here, $1,500 there. Always under $10,000 to avoid federal reporting requirements. Always deposited at different branches. Always in cash. Over 3 months, he's deposited $47,000. I feel something cold settle in my chest. This isn't just an affair. This is a payday. I open a new tab and search for Clearwater Medical Holdings combined with Derek's name. Nothing. I try Patricia's name. Nothing. I try medical fraud, hospice fraud, estate fraud. That's when I find it. A news article from Sacramento. 2 years old. A hospice nurse and a family friend were convicted of convincing an elderly patient to change his will. The nurse had access, built trust, isolated the patient from his children. The family friend posed as a concerned neighbor. They walked away with $400,000 before the man's daughter discovered the scheme. The nurse got 6 years. The family friend got 4. I read the article twice, then a third time. The pattern fits. Hospice nurse with access. Trusted position. Vulnerable patient. Someone on the inside working with someone on the outside. Isolate. Manipulate. Extract. But there's a problem with this theory. I'm not isolated. My father and I aren't close, but I visit. I'm involved. I know what's happening. Unless that's what Vanessa was for. I close my eyes. Think back over the past 8 months. Vanessa suggesting I give my father and Patricia space. They need this time together, just the two of them. Vanessa encouraging me to let Patricia handle the medical decisions. She's his wife. She knows what he wants. Vanessa convincing me that waiving my inheritance was the noble thing to do. Your father chose her. Honor that choice. Every suggestion designed to push me away, to make me the absent son, to clear the field. My hands are shaking. I pull up the photo Moss sent me. The cafe meeting. Patricia showing Vanessa a document. I zoom in as far as the image quality allows. The document has a header. I can't read the words, but I can see the layout. Official. Legal. A will. It has to be. I check the time. 7:40 p.m. The law office of Timothy Brooks closed 3 hours ago, but I have his cell number. He gave it to me when my father's condition worsened. Call anytime, he'd said. I call. He answers on the third ring. Ryan, everything okay? I need to know something. My father's will. When was the last time it was updated? Silence. Then, I can't discuss your father's estate planning without his consent, or unless he's incapacitated to the point where his healthcare proxy. Timothy, please. I'm not asking for details, just a date. When was the last time the will was modified? He hesitates. I hear background noise. A restaurant, maybe. Voices and clinking silverware. 3 weeks ago, he finally says. Your father called me. Said he wanted to make some changes. I went to the house, but Patricia said he was having a bad day. Too confused to make legal decisions. She asked me to come back later. Did you? Come back later? I tried, twice. Both times Patricia said the same thing. He was too ill. Too medicated. I explained that we needed to act while he still had testamentary capacity, but she said she'd call me when he was more lucid. He pauses. She never called. The restaurant noise fades. I hear a door close. He stepped outside. Ryan, what's going on? Did my father actually ask you to come? Did you speak to him directly? No, Patricia called from his phone. She said he was right there but couldn't talk. Too weak. And you believed her? I had no reason not to. His voice shifts, defensive. She's been a devoted wife. She's cared for him around the clock. I've seen it myself. What did he want to change? In the will? I can't. Timothy. Someone made a private investigator disappear. Someone threatened me. Someone is moving money through shell companies. I need to know what he wanted to change. The silence stretches. 10 seconds. 20. He wanted to add a codicil, Timothy finally says, leaving the Riverside property to you outright. Patricia would retain life estate rights, but ownership would transfer to you upon his death. He said he'd been thinking about it, that you were his son and deserved the family home. The world tilts. Patricia stopped it. She said he was too ill to make that decision, and legally, she might be right. If his mental capacity was compromised, it wasn't compromised. She lied. You can't know that. Yes, I can. I'm standing now. The librarian at the front desk glances my way. I lower my voice. She's been isolating him, controlling access, and she's working with my wife and the hospice nurse to make sure I stay away. Ryan, that's a serious accusation. I have evidence, financial records, surveillance photos. A PI who disappeared after discovering something that scared him enough to liquidate his entire life. Timothy doesn't respond immediately. When he does, his voice is careful, measured. If what you're saying is true, we need to act quickly. Your father's current will leaves everything to Patricia with a small bequest to you, $50,000. If he dies before we can execute a new will or prove undue influence, that's what stands. How long does he have? I don't know. I'm not his doctor. But someone told me. 3 days. The voice on the phone said 3 days. I need to see him, I say. Tomorrow. Can you come with me? As his attorney, yes. If he's capable of communicating his wishes, I can take instruction directly. Patricia won't let us in. She doesn't have a choice. I'm his legal counsel, and you're his son. I end the call and sit back down. My laptop screen has gone dark. I tap the keyboard and it lights up again. Clearwater Medical Holdings. $50,000. Cash deposits spreading across 3 months. The pieces are there. I just need to put them together in a way that holds up. My phone vibrates. Email notification. The sender is an encrypted address. Random string of letters and numbers at a domain I don't recognize. The subject line reads, "Final warning." I open it. No text, just an attachment. A video file. I download it. My hand hovers over the trackpad for 3 seconds before I click play. The video shows my father's bedroom. Night vision footage. Green tinted. Timestamp reads 2:17 a.m. from 2 nights ago. My father is in bed. Patricia enters the frame. She's holding something. A syringe. I don't watch the video right away. Instead, I sit in my truck outside the library, phone in my hand, and think about Leonard Moss. About how a man with 23 years of experience investigating insurance fraud and infidelity cases could be scared badly enough to liquidate his entire business in 72 hours. About how his office manager quit the same day he disappeared. About how his license was suspended for ethical violations that nobody could specify. About how the only file that vanished from his office was mine. Someone knew exactly which case to erase. Someone with access to his office, his files, his business records. Someone who could make a private investigator disappear and make it look legitimate. The video file sits on my phone like a bomb. 2:17 a.m. Patricia entering my father's room with a syringe. Moss's final piece of evidence before he vanished. I forward the file to 3 different email addresses. Then to a cloud storage account Vanessa doesn't know about. Then to a thumb drive I keep in my glove compartment. Only then do I press play. The footage is grainy, shot through the crack of a partially opened door. Night vision mode gives everything a greenish cast. The timestamp reads 2:17:33 a.m. Moss must have positioned a camera somewhere in the hallway, probably disguised as something innocuous. The door to my father's room opens. Patricia enters, moving quietly but not furtively. She's wearing a bathrobe and slippers. In her right hand, she's carrying something small. As she moves closer to the bed, the camera catches it clearly. A syringe, the kind with measurement markings along the barrel. My father is asleep. The hospice bed is positioned so his face is partially visible in the frame. Patricia stands beside him for a moment, watching him breathe. Then she reaches for the IV line. The video quality isn't good enough to see exactly what she does, but her movements are practiced, efficient. She injects something into the IV port. The entire process takes maybe 20 seconds. Then she's moving back toward the door, syringe palmed in her hand. The timestamp reads 2:18:09 a.m. when the door closes behind her. I watch it 3 more times. Each time I'm looking for something that might explain this away. Maybe she's administering his prescribed medication. Maybe the hospice nurse instructed her to give him something for pain or nausea. Except hospice patients have pain pumps. They have scheduled medication times. And family members don't typically administer IV medications themselves. That's what Derek is being paid for. I check the date on the footage. 4 days ago. Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. I pull up my notes. Thursday was the day my father was too confused to meet with Timothy Brooks, the attorney. The day Patricia told Brooks that Dad was having a bad day, that he wasn't making sense, that it would be better to wait. My phone buzzes. Text from Vanessa. Dinner at 7? Miss you today. I don't respond. Instead, I call the one person who might have answers about what I just watched. The phone rings 4 times before a woman's voice answers. Riverside Hospice Services, this is Julie speaking. Hi, I'm calling about my father, James Foster. He's currently receiving in-home hospice care. One moment, please. Keyboard clicking in the background. Yes, Mr. Foster. How can I help you? I have a question about his medications. specifically about who's authorized to administer them. All medications should be administered by the assigned hospice nurse, or in some cases by family members who've received proper training. Is there a concern? What kind of training would a family member need to give IV medications? A pause. Family members aren't authorized to administer IV medications. That's strictly the purview of licensed medical personnel. Is someone suggesting otherwise? No, just trying to understand the protocols. And what medications would typically be given through an IV line at that stage? I can't discuss specific patient medications without authorization, but generally, hospice patients receive pain management, anti-nausea medications, and sometimes sedatives for anxiety. All prescribed by the hospice physician and administered according to a care plan. And those would be given at scheduled times? Yes, with documentation for each administration. The hospice nurse maintains detailed records. Thank you, that's helpful. I hang up before she can ask more questions. So Patricia isn't authorized to give IV medications. Whatever she injected into my father's line at 2:17 a.m. wasn't part of his prescribed care plan. And if it wasn't prescribed, then what was it? I think about the anonymous phone call. Your father will die in exactly 3 days. That was Monday evening. 3 days puts us at Thursday evening. Tomorrow. I think about the $50,000 wire transfer to Patricia from Clearwater Medical Holdings. About Derek's cash deposits totaling $47,000. About the forged signature document someone sent me, trying to make me think I'd already signed away my inheritance rights. About Leonard Moss, who documented all of this and then disappeared. The pieces are connecting, forming a picture I don't want to see but can't ignore. Patricia needs my father to die before he can change his will. Vanessa needs me to sign away my inheritance rights before he dies. Derek needs to keep my father medicated enough that he can't communicate clearly with attorneys or family members who might question what's happening. And someone, maybe all three of them, maybe someone else entirely, needs to ensure that my father dies on schedule. I pull up the video again, pausing at the moment when Patricia's hand is on the IV port. The syringe is clearly visible. It's not empty when she enters the room, and it appears empty when she leaves. Whatever was in that syringe is now in my father's bloodstream. My phone buzzes again. This time it's not Vanessa. Unknown number. Text message. You should have stopped looking. I stare at the message. Same unknown number that called Monday night with the 3-day warning. Same number that sent me the forged signature document. I type back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appear, indicating a response is being typed. They disappear, then reappear. Finally, someone who knows what you found. Someone who knows you're watching the video right now. My blood goes cold. I look around the parking lot. It's nearly empty, just a handful of cars scattered across the spaces. No one's sitting in any of them that I can see. But someone is watching me. Someone knows I'm at the library. Someone knows I just watched the footage. I type, "What did you give him?" The response comes quickly. Nothing that will show up on a standard talk screen. Nothing that will raise questions. He's a hospice patient. People in his condition die all the time. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to understand that you can't stop what's already in motion. Your father will die tomorrow evening. The will is clear. Patricia inherits everything unless you've signed your waiver. And you haven't, have you? I don't respond. That's what I thought. So here's what happens next. You can go to the police with your suspicions. You can show them the video. You can tell them about the private investigator who disappeared. But by the time they investigate, your father will be dead. Hospice patient, expected death, no autopsy. And then it becomes a he said, she said about whether Patricia was administering prescribed medication or something else. Without a talk screen, without your father's testimony, you have nothing. Or Or you sign the waiver. You walk away. You let Patricia have the estate. And in return, your father dies peacefully, without pain, without anyone asking uncomfortable questions. Vanessa files for divorce in a few months, you split your assets, everyone moves on. And if I don't? The typing dots appear and disappear several times. Finally. Then we'll have to consider other options. You're not the only person who can have an accident, Ryan. Leonard Moss understood that. He made the smart choice. You should too. The message ends there. No further responses despite the questions I type. I sit in my truck, hands shaking, and understand something Leonard Moss figured out before he disappeared. This isn't just about inheritance fraud. This is about people willing to commit murder to get what they want, and willing to threaten more murder to cover it up. The library parking lot feels exposed. Every car could contain someone watching. Every window could hide a camera. I sit in my truck, engine running, phone in my hand. The anonymous number's last message still glows on the screen. Other options are being discussed. You have until noon tomorrow. 16 hours. Timothy Brooks answers on the second ring. Ryan, I was hoping you'd call. I need to see my father, tonight, with you present as witness. Silence. Then, what's happened? I have evidence Patricia's been administering unauthorized injections. I have financial records showing she's receiving payments from a shell company. I have proof she blocked him from changing his will when he was still lucid. I keep my voice steady, and I have reason to believe his death is being accelerated. Jesus Christ, Timothy's professional composure cracks. Ryan, if what you're saying is true, it's true. I have video, bank records, everything documented. Then we need to involve authorities, Adult Protective Services, police. No. The word comes out harder than I intend. The PI I hired got scared off. Someone's been tracking my movements in real time. They knew I was watching surveillance footage at a public library within minutes. Whoever's behind this has resources and reach. Timothy exhales slowly. What do you need from me? I need you to go with me to see my father. Tonight. I need you to witness his current mental state. And I need you to ask him directly what he wants done with his estate. Patricia won't allow it. She's been controlling access. She doesn't have legal authority to deny him visitors, especially not his attorney. I check the rearview mirror again. Empty parking lot. If she refuses, that's evidence of undue influence right there. What time? 8 o'clock. The night nurse rotation changes at 7:30. Different staff, less familiar with Patricia's restrictions. I'll be there. Timothy pauses. Ryan, if they're threatening you, I'm taking precautions. Not entirely true, but what precautions exist against people who can track you anywhere? Just be there. That's what matters. I end the call and pull up Vanessa's contact. Her last text came 3 hours ago. Miss you. Long day. Heading home soon. Love you. The casual lies. The practiced affection. 4 months of this. I type, staying at a hotel tonight. Work emergency. Server breach. Might be an all-nighter. Her response comes within seconds. Oh no, do you need anything? I can bring you food? I'm good. Team ordered pizza. Don't wait up. Okay, baby, good luck. Love you so much. I delete the thread. Not out of sentiment, out of operational security. If they're monitoring my phone, I need to control what they see. The drive to Riverside takes 40 minutes. I take surface streets instead of the highway, doubling back twice to check for tails. A silver sedan follows for 3 miles before turning off. Probably nothing. Probably. My father's house sits on a quiet street lined with jacarandas. Patricia's car occupies the driveway, a modest Honda Civic, 8 years old. The kind of car a woman on a fixed income would drive. except she's received $50,000 in the last 6 weeks. I park 2 blocks away and walk. The neighborhood's familiar. I grew up 3 streets over, in a smaller house my parents sold when I was in college. Dad bought this place after Mom died, when the life insurance and his retirement savings finally aligned. He was proud of it. Talked about leaving it to me someday. Then he married Patricia. Then he got sick. Timothy's Mercedes pulls up at 7:58. He steps out carrying a leather portfolio, dressed in a dark suit despite the evening hour. Looking every inch the estate attorney. "Ready?" he asks. "As I'll ever be." We walk to the front door together. I ring the bell. Patricia answers wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweater, reading glasses perched on her head. She looks tired. Genuinely tired. The kind that comes from weeks of caretaking. For a moment, I almost feel guilty. Then I remember the injection. The shell company. The blocked will change. Ryan. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. This is unexpected. "I brought Mr. Brooks. We need to see Dad." Her gaze shifts to Timothy, and something flickers across her face. Calculation. It's late. James is resting. The evening medications make him very drowsy. "Mrs. Foster." Timothy's voice carries professional authority. "I'm still Mr. Foster's attorney of record. I have a legal obligation to verify his current wishes regarding his estate. I can either do that now, with your cooperation, or I can return tomorrow with a court order and a representative from Adult Protective Services." Patricia's jaw tightens. "That won't be necessary." She steps aside. The house smells like sickness, that distinctive combination of antiseptic, medication, and something sweeter underneath. Decay, maybe. The hospice bed dominates the living room, surrounded by IV poles and monitoring equipment. My father lies propped on pillows, eyes closed. He's lost more weight since I last visited. His skin has that translucent quality, veins visible like rivers on a map. "James." Patricia moves to his side, touches his shoulder gently. "Honey, Ryan's here. And Mr. Brooks?" His eyes open slowly, unfocused at first, then sharpening. "Ryan?" "Hey, Dad." I cross to the bed, take his hand. It feels like bird bones wrapped in paper. "How are you feeling?" "Tired." His voice is barely a whisper. "Always tired now." Timothy positions himself on the other side of the bed. "Mr. Foster, I apologize for the late visit. I need to ask you some questions about your estate planning. Are you feeling clear-headed enough to discuss this?" Dad's eyes move to Patricia, then back to Timothy. "I think so." "Good." Timothy opens his portfolio, pulls out a legal pad. 3 weeks ago, you called my office requesting a meeting to modify your will. Do you remember that?" Patricia stiffens. "James, you don't have to." "I remember." Dad's voice gains strength. "Wanted to make sure Ryan got the house. This house. It was important." "Why was it important?" Timothy writes as he speaks. "Because..." Dad pauses, breathing labored. "Because Patricia will be fine. The life insurance, the retirement accounts, she'll have enough. But Ryan, he's my son, my only child. This house should be his. You told me that meeting never happened." I look at Patricia. "You said he was too medicated to know what he was saying." Her face flushes. "He was confused. The pain medications..." I wasn't confused. Dad's grip on my hand tightens. "I knew exactly what I wanted. But she said it would hurt you, Patricia, that you'd feel rejected. I didn't want to hurt you." Timothy makes another note. "Mr. Foster, did you ultimately decide not to change your will?" "I decided to wait, to think about it." Dad's eyes close briefly. "But then I got worse. And now..." "Now you're too sick to make changes," Timothy finishes. According to medical records, you've been deemed mentally incompetent due to medication levels. The pain, Dad's voice breaks. It's so bad sometimes. The morphine helps, but it makes everything foggy. I lean closer. Dad, have you noticed anything unusual with your medications? Anything that seems different? Patricia moves toward the door. I think that's enough questions. He needs to rest. Stay. Timothy doesn't raise his voice, but the command is clear. Mrs. Foster, I need you present for this conversation. She freezes. Dad's eyes open again, looking at me with sudden clarity. The night nurse, the new one. She gives me extra shots sometimes, says it's for pain, but Patricia tells her to do it. I hear them talking. My chest tightens. What do they say? That I need to be comfortable, that it's almost over. His hand trembles in mine. Ryan, I don't want to die yet. I know I'm dying, but I'm not ready. There are things I need to tell you. Things about Patricia, about the money. James, stop. Patricia's voice cracks. You're confused. The medications. I'm not confused. The shout costs him. He gasps, pain crossing his face. I know what's happening. I know what you've done. Timothy steps between Patricia and the bed. Mrs. Foster, I think you should call your attorney. Right now. She backs toward the door, face pale. I haven't done anything wrong. I've been caring for him, sacrificing everything. $50,000 from Clearwater Medical Holdings. I stand, still holding Dad's hand. That's a lot of sacrifice. Her eyes widen. How did you... I know about Derek. I know about the plan to contest the will. I know about the injections that won't show up on standard talk screens. Each word lands like a hammer. And I know you're running out of time. Patricia's hand finds the door frame, steadying herself. You can't prove anything. Actually, Timothy says quietly, with Mr. Foster's testimony, the financial records, and medical evidence, we can prove quite a lot. She runs. Patricia made it as far as the driveway before the police arrived. Timothy had texted them from inside the house. He'd already been in contact with a detective from the elder abuse unit before we even knocked on the door. Turns out I wasn't the only one who'd been gathering evidence. Derek Paulson was arrested at his apartment 2 hours later. His wife Amanda filed for divorce the next morning, which is how I learned that betrayal has a distinctive sound. It's the silence that follows when someone realizes their entire life was a lie. Vanessa tried calling me 47 times that night. I didn't answer. By dawn, she'd moved on to emails, then texts, then showing up at my office. Security escorted her out. The divorce papers were filed by the end of the week. California's a no-fault state, but her attorney took one look at the affair documentation, the coordination with Patricia, and the attempted inheritance fraud, and advised her to take whatever I offered. She got 15% of our community assets. I was feeling generous. My father lived another 8 days. Long enough to execute a new will with Timothy present and 2 independent witnesses. Long enough to tell me about the conversations he'd overheard. Patricia and Derek planning, Vanessa coaching them on how to manipulate me, discussions about accelerating the timeline when I didn't sign the waiver fast enough. Long enough to say he was proud of me for not giving up. He died on a Sunday morning with me holding his hand. No injections except prescribed hospice medications. No rushing. Just time, doing what time does. The toxicology report took 6 weeks. Turned out Patricia had been using a combination of sedatives that, individually, were unremarkable. Together, in cumulative doses, they were suppressing his respiratory system. Not enough to kill him outright. That would have been too obvious. Just enough to move things along. The prosecution called it passive euthanasia with intent to inherit. I called it murder, but the lawyer said that word was harder to prove. Patricia took a plea deal. 8 years for elder abuse, fraud, and attempted voluntary manslaughter. Derek got 6 years as an accessory. His nursing license was permanently revoked. The medical board investigation revealed he'd done this before, in Nevada, but the family had settled quietly. Leonard Moss never resurfaced. His ex-wife received a postcard from Costa Rica 3 months after everything concluded. No message, just a picture of a beach and his signature. I like to think he's somewhere warm, drinking something with an umbrella in it, finally free of whatever scared him badly enough to walk away from his entire life. Vanessa moved to Portland. I heard she's engaged to a software engineer. I hope she's different with him. I hope she learned something. But I don't think about it much. The house in Riverside sold for $920,000. I kept some of Dad's things, his watch, his favorite chair, a box of photos from before Mom died. The rest went to estate sale. Patricia's attorney tried to argue she deserved something for her years of care, but the judge wasn't sympathetic. Turns out planning to murder your spouse for money negates any goodwill you might have earned. I'm still in IT security. Still finding vulnerabilities in systems people think are safe. The difference is, now I understand that the biggest vulnerabilities aren't in the code. They're in the trust we extend without verification, in the assumptions we make about people we love, in the belief that good intentions protect us from bad actors. They don't. My father taught me that, in the end. Not through words, but through what happened when he let his guard down. When he trusted that love meant safety. When he assumed the woman who read to him every night couldn't possibly be counting down the days until his death. I visit his grave on Sundays. There's a bench nearby where I sit and watch the sprinklers arc across the grass. Sometimes I think about calling Timothy, who's become something like a friend. Sometimes I think about the inheritance sitting in my investment accounts, growing quietly, funding a future my father wanted me to have. Mostly I think about the difference between being careful and being paranoid. About how the world teaches you to be one by punishing you for not being the other. I don't date much anymore. When I do, I pay attention to the small things. Who suggests what? Who benefits from which decisions? Whose story has holes that don't quite close? It's exhausting. It's necessary. Last week, a colleague asked if I'd ever trust anyone again. I told him the truth. Trust isn't the problem. Trust is essential. We can't live without it. The problem is knowing the difference between people who've earned it and people who are simply good at performing it. Between love that asks you to be generous and manipulation that requires you to be stupid. My father knew that difference, at the end. He tried to tell me, even when the words wouldn't come. Even when the medications made everything foggy. He fought through the haze to warn me, to protect me one last time. That's what love actually looks like. Not the performance, not the words, the fighting through. I keep his watch in my desk drawer at work. Sometimes, during long meetings about security protocols and vulnerability assessments, I touch it through my pocket and remember, the best defense isn't cynicism, it's clarity. Seeing people as they are, not as we need them to be. Patricia's in prison, Derek's in prison, Vanessa's in Portland. And I'm here, alive, solvent, and wiser than I was 9 months ago. My father would say that's enough. That survival and wisdom are their own inheritance, worth more than any house or investment account. He'd be right. But I'm still keeping the money.